This tape ain't labeled. No date, no side A, just a worn sticker that says Bellflower. Found it in the bottom drawer of a dead man's desk, tucked beside a pocket knife and a folded map of nowhere. Might have been recorded in a radio booth. Might have been whispered through a keyhole. What matters is this. These stories don't belong to just one person. They belong to the dirt and the wind and the folks who don't get mentioned in the paper. So, if the signal's coming through, sit still. This is Dead Signal, Episode 1, Echoes from Bellflower. And if you recognize a voice on this tape, it's already too late to stop listening. They say if you're driving east out of Bellflower, just before the tree line gives up, there's a rest stop with no name, just a cement slab, a busted vending machine full of faded mellow yellow, and a cinder block restroom where the door creaks louder going out than it does coming in. There ain't no lights, ain't no cameras. But if you stop there after midnight, sometimes the bathroom sings, not music exactly, just a hum, low, familiar, like somebody's mother used to hum it while they cooked, or like a hymn you forgot you knew the words to. Last year, a woman named Claire pulled in on her way home from a funeral in Carthage. Said she had to use the restroom, but couldn't find the switch inside. No lights, just tile and mildew and that hum. And then the hum started singing. Only it wasn't just a sound. It was a voice. And it was singing her name. Now, Claire had a sister, Emily, who died on a rainy Thursday 15 years ago. Car crash right outside Bellflower. Emily used to hum all the time, especially when she was nervous. Claire said the tune in the bathroom that night was Emily's. Said she recognized it in her stomach before she did in her ears. When she called out, the singing stopped. She swears the sink faucet turned itself on, and when she looked in the mirror, not her own reflection, but a little red cassette player sitting on the sink, spinning, quiet as a whisper. She picked it up, took it with her, played it once in the car. The tape was blank, not a sound. She threw it out the window 2 miles down the road, and when she stopped for gas the next morning, it was on her passenger seat, right where her sister used to sit. Folks still stop at that rest area. Most don't hear anything but wind. But if you're tired, if your heart's full of something you never said, you might just catch a little tune, one you haven't heard since the last time somebody loved you and left. Miller's Pond don't show up on most maps. It's just a low stretch of water behind the old cotton mill, too shallow to swim, too still to drink. But the kids around Bellflower, they tell stories about something at the bottom that glows, faint, pale green, like the light off a dying firefly. Nobody remembers when the glow first showed up, but it's been there long enough that dares started. Walk out into the pond. Wait till your feet leave the earth. Then look down. If you see the glow, you've got to reach for it. That's the rule. 3 summers ago, a boy named Cade took the dare. Walked out past the reeds, sank in up to his chest, said he saw it, said it looked like a lantern. He reached. He was underwater for 4 minutes. When he came up, he wasn't the same. Didn't talk, didn't cry, didn't even blink right. His mama took him to 3 doctors, a preacher, and a woman who reads bones. None of them could fix what the pond had taken. That same summer, another boy, Jonah, tried to reach it too. Only he never came back up. They dragged the pond, found his shoes, and a little red marble. It was glowing, just like the story said. They filled in part of Miller's Pond last year, put a plastic fence around what's left, but the water still moves on windless nights, and sometimes it glows. And if you're close enough to hear it, you'll swear it's calling your name, just like it did Cade, just like it did Jonah. Some things don't want to be forgotten. They just want to be touched. So, if you ever find yourself at the edge of a pond, and the water's still, and something glows beneath it, don't reach. Let it stay where it is. Because what's down there remembers who let go last. After the storm of '92, most of Bellflower lost power. Trees came down, roads washed out, but St. Willows Church stood untouched. No roof damage, no broken glass, just a single door hanging open. Inside was Reverend Caleb, alive, shaken, and unwilling to cross the threshold. The fireman asked if he was hurt. Caleb shook his head. They asked if he needed help. He said he already had it. They asked who gave it to him. He looked at the altar and said they did. He'd gone into the church to pray during the worst of the rain. Thunder cracking, water rising, and something had stepped out from behind the pulpit. He wouldn't describe it, said its shape changed depending on where you looked. It never spoke, but it watched him for hours. When the storm passed, Caleb didn't leave, said his legs wouldn't let him, said it wasn't fear, just a sense that stepping outside would be a mistake. He waited until the sun came up, and even then he only left when the power came back on, and the organ played 3 notes all by itself. He never preached again, never drove, never walked past St. Willows. They say he moved to Ebon Hollow and never stepped inside another building with a steeple. Last year, a construction crew tore down St. Willows to make room for a gas station. They found a set of footprints in the wood dust, leading up to where the altar used to be. Bare feet, One said, fresh. Some places keep hold of the people they like, even after they walk away. And some folks, they never really leave. They just stay right there at the edge of the door, trying to remember why they were afraid to go. There's a little funeral home in Bellflower County called Hollow and Sons. Been there since before the war. No sign out front. Just a white house with black shutters and the faint smell of carnations, even in winter. Lydia was 16 when she started working the front desk after school. Quiet work. She filed paperwork, lit candles, answered the phone when no one else wanted to. One night, she opened a drawer in the embalming room, found a box of old records, no sleeves, no labels, just black vinyl, warped, dusty, humming if you got too close. She took one home, played it in her father's study, and what came through the speaker was her own voice, describing a funeral, her own, who came, what song played, the color of her dress, the exact words the preacher said. The record ended with a date. 3 weeks from the day she found it. She didn't tell anyone, just sat with it. Day after day, she checked the calendar. Every cough felt like prophecy. Every car ride felt like fate. But when the date came, she was fine, alive. The next day, she went back to the funeral home, opened the drawer, and the record was gone. In its place, another one. Same size, same weight. She didn't take it, didn't need to, because she could hear it from across the room, and it was someone else's voice this time. Hollow and Sons is still open. Same shutters, same carnations. And they say the drawer still sticks sometimes, like something inside it don't want to be played just yet. Cradle Creek used to be a proper little town. Had a feed store, a barber, and a white post office with green shutters. Then the flood came, took the road, took the bridge, left just the church steeple and a row of chimneys sticking up like gravestones. They never rebuilt it, just rerouted the mail and called it a loss. But there's still one mailbox out there, half buried in kudzu, bent at the neck like it's trying to whisper to the ground, and somehow it still gets mail, postmarked, sealed, sometimes a stamp, sometimes not. Nobody sees who delivers it. Nobody claims to send it. But the letters come, and they all have the same thing written on the envelope, a name that ain't been said out loud in years. Old man Garrett saw one get dropped off. Said it wasn't a man or a truck, just a shape, tall, thin, quiet, slipped out of the fog like it had been there the whole time, left a single envelope, then vanished. Garrett took it home, opened it. It had his wife's handwriting inside, only she'd been dead 9 winters. The letter talked about his childhood, mentioned things even he forgot, then ended with one line, I never left. Garrett moved the next morning. Didn't sell the house. Didn't pack a thing. Just left. The mailbox is still there. Mail still shows up. Sometimes hikers leave a name in it. A name they lost. Or one they're trying to forget. And sometimes a letter comes back. But most folks who receive one don't ever write again. It happened out on Pike Hollow Road. Little house with a tin roof and a porch full of wind chimes. The McCallans had just moved in. Young couple, one daughter, and an old brown hound named Murphy who never barked unless he meant it. On the third night, Murphy started digging, right under the swing in the backyard. Didn't matter what they covered it with. Dirt, stone, chicken wire. He kept digging, clawed his paws raw trying to get to something. Then one morning, he stopped digging and started howling. Didn't stop for 2 full hours. That's when they found it. A jawbone. Too big for an animal. Too small for a grown man. Still had 2 teeth in it. Still wet with something. They called the sheriff. He sent a deputy. The deputy took a look and got real quiet. Said he'd call for a crew, but no one ever came. Next morning, the deputy was gone. Car still in the drive. Radio still on. No sign of him. That night, the McCallans heard scratching. Inside the walls, in the pipes, under the floorboards. Murphy sat by the door all night, growling at nothing. A week later, they moved out. Left everything. Didn't even take the dog. A neighbor took Murphy in. Said he never dug again, never howled. But sometimes he just sits in the yard, staring at that swing like it's moving on its own. The jawbone? No one knows what happened to it. Some say the deputy took it. Some say it never left. But every spring, that patch of dirt turns up fresh, like something underneath it don't want to stay buried. They say her porch light never burned out. Not once in 30 years. The widow Lorene lived alone in a white clapboard house with lace curtains and a rocking chair that never stopped moving, even when the wind was still. Folks say her husband drowned in the flood of 46, left to fix the levee, never came back. But every night since, at exactly 3:07 a.m., there's a knock on her door. 3 slow taps, always 3. She never opened it, not once. Just sat in her rocker, hands folded, waiting. Some say she whispered to the door, said his name. Others say she prayed, but no one ever heard a reply, just silence. And then the rocker would stop, like someone had finally come inside. Neighbors watched the clock for years, tried to catch it, tried to hear it, but the knock only came when you weren't listening, only came for her. The night she passed, the porch light went out. First time since 46, and the door, it was wide open. Rocker still, curtains drawn, but no one inside. Now every house she ever visited gets a knock at 307. 3 taps, just once. Then nothing. People say she's still waiting, but not for her husband anymore. Now she waits for doors that remember her face. So if you hear knocking just before dawn, don't answer. Let the porch light burn until the morning comes. There used to be a peach farm on the edge of Bellflower County. Big place, 20 workers, 4 bunk houses. Only one of 'em's still standing now, Bunk House 4. They say the others burned down in the drought or collapsed under the rot. But Bunk House 4, it just stayed, like it was waiting for someone. A man named Henry took the night shift there in the late 70s, stayed in 4 alone, said it smelled like cedar and rain, even in the dead heat of August. He kept a journal, wrote in it every night before bed. The entries were normal at first. Work details, weather, supper. Then he started writing about footsteps late at night inside the bunk house, even though he was supposed to be alone. One entry said, I counted 6 steps, then none, then 6 again, but never 7. Another read. Someone's humming, but there's no tune. Just the sound of someone trying to remember. The last entry was short, cut off mid-sentence. It read, It's not the steps I hear now. It's the breath behind them. It's the... And then nothing. They found the journal on the pillow. Room was clean. Bed made. No sign of Henry. But the floorboards were warped, like someone heavy had been pacing all night. 6 steps. No more, no less. Bunk House 4 is still there. No locks, no glass in the windows, but the wind never seems to get inside. And no matter how dry the day, the floor always feels damp, like somebody just stepped out of it. The old Bellflower Elementary burned down in 1984. Electrical fire started in the basement, took the whole west wing. No one was inside. That's what they say. But the fire report listed 1 desk missing from room 3A. Just gone. They bulldozed the shell 2 months later, built a gas station over it, new pavement, new lights. But some things don't stay buried. Couple years ago, the sheriff's department started picking up strange signals. Short bursts of static on the CB, followed by children's laughter, or songs, old songs, ones no one's taught in decades, ones nobody records anymore. The weird part, the signal only comes through after 3 a.m., and only on radios made before 1980. One deputy swears he heard roll call, a little girl's voice saying, "Here," and then silence, and then a name, his name. He quit the next day. A trucker filled up at the gas station last summer said his radio locked up, wouldn't play anything but static, and the sound of chalk scratching something on a blackboard. When he checked his mirror, he said there were handprints on his back window. Small, smudged, still warm. The gas station still runs. Same pumps, same late-night register girl. But if your radio hisses near pump 3, turn it off. Don't listen, because if you hear the school bell, you're already too close, and some kids never made it out before the doors burned shut. They found the jacket under the floorboards of an abandoned church in Mourner's Parish, wrapped in waxed canvas, dry as bone, still smelled faintly of cedar and pipe smoke. No name on the tag, but someone had sewn a scrap of cloth into the lining. 3 letters stitched by hand. E. Grieve. The drifter who found it said it was just his size. Said it warmed up the moment he put it on, like it remembered him, or wanted to. He wore it into Bellflower, didn't talk much, slept behind the train depot, kept to himself. But folks noticed strange things after he showed up. Dead radios started whispering. Phones rang once, then stopped, and the church bell at Saltwind Cemetery tolled for the first time in 30 years. One night, the drifter knocked on the library door, asked to see old land records, said he was looking for a place that wasn't there anymore. Where I used to live, he told the clerk, but I think the land forgot me. The next morning, he was gone. Jacket, too. But near the foot of the altar, where the jacket had been, someone had scrawled a name into the wood, burned it deep. Elias. Grieve. No one remembers burying a man by that name, but the name shows up sometimes, in margins, on headstones half sunk in the marsh, and on nights when the air's thick with static. Some swear they hear a voice in the jacket, still trying to get home. If you ever find a coat that feels like it's waiting for you, don't try it on, because some things don't keep you warm. They just hold on tight and don't let go. If you made it this far, the tape didn't skip. You heard what it wanted you to hear. Voices from Bellflower. Things that shouldn't have lingered. Stories that stayed behind when the town moved on. Maybe you recognized one. A porch, a name, a knock you've tried to forget. That's how it works. Dead signal don't broadcast for everyone, just the ones already listening, the ones who leave the porch light off. We'll be back, if the tape still holds, if the signal still bleeds through the static. Until then, keep your ears open, and whatever you do, don't pick up if it rings after midnight